Hello, today I'm going to talk about our 2-camera funeral live streaming setup. Now, why would you want 2 cameras as opposed to 1 camera? Well, look, to be honest, most of our bookings are a single camera. And for smaller funerals, you can get away with that without any problems. However, if you've got a larger funeral, then having at least 2 cameras really helps with the engagement of those people who are watching online. You see, when you're watching online and it's just a single angle, then it can be a little bit stale after a while. Now, if you chuck in the second camera into that mix, then being able to switch between the main camera, which is your main front-on camera, and maybe a side camera or another angle, just helps to make the live stream a little bit more interesting. So I want to quickly take you through our setup for this 2-camera live stream, starting with obviously our first shot, which is our camera. Now for our main camera, we have the Canon XF605. It's a brilliant camcorder style camera with a built-in zoom, which is just perfect if you're situated at the back of the service and you need to zoom right in on either the priest or the lectern to get a nice close-up shot of the person speaking. With this camera, it means that you're not having to be limited by the lens choice, which we would typically be limited on if we're using a DSLR or one of our other cinema style cameras, where you're sort of limited to like a 24-105 or 70-200. This camera will allow you to zoom right out to all the way close. It's probably about equivalent of maybe a 24-350 or so mil lens. So it's a great versatile camera. I love this camera. So our second camera for this shoot was our Canon C200. It's got a 24-105 lens, and we put it over to the side, focused primarily on a wide shot on the side, which shows the coffin plus also the lectern. It's a great angle for switching to when when someone who's speaking at the lectern has finished speaking and they're changing people. We can cut to that wide shot down there, and it's a great way to break up the image during the live stream. Moving on to the rest of the equipment, I'm just going to quickly move through what we have for our setup. So at the top is our Atomos recorder. We put our program record into this, and we're recording the actual main service of this. So it means that when we get back to the office, we don't have to do very much editing because it's already edited for us. Both of the cameras are switched live and recorded into this switcher. We then send the output of the Atomos into our encoder, which is what actually then goes to our live stream on the website. For this live stream, we were using the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO. The reason I really love this switcher is it has 2 outputs on it, which means that we can send one of the outputs to our program record, and the second output we can use to a smaller monitor for our multi-view. And this allows us to be able to see what each of our cameras is focused on and what's happening at any one time on each of the cameras. And it also allows us to view our laptop as well, which has usually the PowerPoint presentation or opening and closing slides. And then we get to our mixer, which is the Flow 8 from Behringer. The thing I love about this mixer is it's actually USB powered, which means that we can either power it from the power adapter itself, or you can power it off a V-mount battery or a power bank. It only has 4 XLR inputs and it's got a couple of jack inputs as well, so it's got a total of 8 inputs. Typically we use 2 or 3 of those inputs, but then we also repurpose that switcher for corporate events when we might need more microphones as well. But for a funeral, usually we're using 2 lapels plus our on-camera microphone. So we have a lapel that goes onto the priest and a lapel that goes onto the lectern, which always gives us really crisp, clear audio. Most of the churches that we attend for these services, we can't plug into the sound system, and so being able to bring our own microphones with us means that we're never depending on the church's sound system and getting access to that. And even if we do get access, there's often a lot of buzzes, and the sound just quality is just not usually very good. So being able to control this ourselves is a real bonus for us. And then I use the on-camera microphone on the main camera on the 605 for anything that is like songs and hymns that are played through or sung through the service. Now moving on to our wireless setup, I'm using the new DJI SDR wireless system, and I actually have two of them, and the reason I have two of them is so that both of my cameras are coming in at the same time, because there is a slight delay on these wireless transmitters. Now I'm using SDI from the camera into the transmitter, and then the transmitter back at my switcher is going HDMI out into my ATEM Mini Extreme. The thing I love about these transmitters is they are super small and compact. They have flip down antennas, so they pack up very small and they're very quick to set up. I've used other transmitters in the past where you have to screw on 4 individual aerials onto the transmitter and the receiver, and it just takes so much time and it takes up a lot of space, and often if you're going through a door you might hit it or something like that. With these small SDR transmitters, they are just perfect for what we do, and they're very quick as well. So to be honest, you can actually, like, I've used them before where my main camera would be plugged into the switcher and the second camera will be on the wireless, and there is a slight delay, but because we're using a wide angle on the second camera, lip sync isn't so much of an issue. But certainly if you do need lip sync, then having both cameras on the same latency is going to help with that lip sync issue. Our entire system is running off battery in this case. That includes our switcher, our monitor, our audio, everything is running off battery. We don't have anything plugged into a power socket. And that's because with the location of this church setup, we actually didn't have any powers anywhere nearby, and for us to actually put a power would have probably created a bit of a trip hazard, because you would have had to put a power cord down across a walkway, and the last thing you want to be worrying about is somebody tripping over one of your cables. So in this case, I opted to just go completely battery. We had one V-mount operating the switcher and my wireless transmitters. The ATEM, the Atomos itself had batteries running directly in the back of the Atomos, and then I had another V-mount aside for just powering the audio switcher. So that's two V-mounts plus a couple of NPF batteries, and that gives us a couple of hours of complete battery operation. The final thing in our whole setup is the LiveU encoder, and this is the magic behind how we are able to get such good quality live streams, is our hardware encoder. This is a professional encoder. It's quite expensive to run and to purchase in the first place, but 100% swear by it. It has been unstoppable. We've been able to stream in places where others can't stream simply because of the bonding of this encoder. It's bonding, it can bond up to 6 modems. I would typically use 3 on a normal live stream. Sometimes I'll use 4, and it just gives you that extra redundancy that you can stream with confidence, knowing that you're never going to drop a stream. Well, there you go. That's our setup for a 2-camera funeral live stream. If you've got questions about our setup and how it works, feel free to put a comment on our YouTube channel under this video, and maybe I can do a video on your question in the future. Until then, if you do have a funeral that you're wanting to book in Brisbane or on the Gold Coast, then those are the areas that we service, and we would love to help you out. Simply go to funeral-livestream.com.au and submit your inquiry so that we can check that your date is available, and we'd love to help you share the memory of a loved one with your friends and family who may not be able to make it to a funeral in person. So we'll talk to you soon and see you on the next video.